All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Great O'Clock. This evening, we are talking about perfecting your $1 million pitch. And I wanted to talk about this because it's really a challenge for people to talk about their business. A lot of people don't understand how to explain what they do and why they do what they do, which is uh, um, an issue in them being able to build their business and grow their brand. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how you present yourself to your clients initially, and then once you are in the actual sales process of it. So I wanted to talk about this, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So first of all, I want to thank everybody that is here with me this evening. I have some wonderful people in the house. We have Mike, we have Allison, we have the wonderful Lynn also, Fred Oban, I'm sorry, is also here. He checked in, he'll be back. So let's just jump into it. When we start talking about pitching is something that scares a lot of people when it comes to business. Explaining what you do in a succinct, concise, and precise way is very, very challenging because a lot of times we tend to want to tell people about everything all at once, and we kind of just throw out a bunch of gibberish, and it never sounds exactly the way we meant it to sound. And the reason for that is a lot of people don't take the time to write out what they do and why they do it. So that is the first step in the process of one, networking, and two, getting in front of the right people. If you aren't in front of the right people, then you won't make the money that you want to make in your business, and therefore it becomes a frustration in your business. So let's just talk about how you frame that. When you're talking about what you do, one, you want to make it specific. So make it specific. And when I'm talking about making it specific, don't just say, I help business owners. Okay. What business owners do you help? How do you help them? What is it that you help them with? What problem are you solving? And those are the questions that need to be incorporated in when you are talking about why you do what you do, so that people can understand and identify with you, so that they will know whether they're a client or whether they can refer you to someone else. Because sometimes just because they're not a client, they can end up being a great referral source for you by sending you other people that can actually utilize your services. So just for example, a lot of times I've heard people say, well, I'm a coach, I'm a business coach. Okay. What do you coach on? I coach, businesses. Okay. What kind of businesses? Businesses. Okay. So my question then turns to them, okay, are we talking small cap businesses? Are we talking larger businesses? Do you cater to a certain industry? Are you just strictly working with beauty professionals? Do you work with network marketers? Are you working with startups? Are you working with companies, Fortune 500 companies? So you have to understand who you are trying to speak to so that you can gain the right audience, so that you can make your presentation and in turn be able to service and help the people that you want to help. Because that's why we're all in this coaching business in the first place, to be able to help people. If you're not helping people and you aren't serving people, then you are not just doing yourself a disservice, you are doing the world a disservice. So one, let's be very specific and targeted in who we want to talk to. Understand your audience. The second thing that I would say is when you are talking about your initial pitch, which we call this the elevator pitch. This is your 30-second commercial. So you should be able to summarize what you do and somebody understand what you do within 30 seconds of meeting them, because they don't have 20 minutes to talk to you about, well, I do business consulting. I also do this and that and this and that and this and that and this and that. And by the time the conversation is over, they don't know what the heck you do. So we want to be specific. Secondly, we want to explain what brought us kind of to it in that same pitch. And that's hard for a lot of people to do, again, because they aren't used to being specific. So if you, one, get specific, and then two, give reasoning. You want to give a reason why you do what you do. And then that drives people to be enticed to want to work with you. If they understand what you do and why you do what you do, now you really have piqued their interest. So these are two very important things, I feel, when it comes to understanding the nature of introducing yourself in the business world. Do we have any questions? Allison, Lynn, Mike, anybody have questions so far? Are we good so far? Comments, questions, concerns? Oh, we good? Okay. Okay, cool. I can keep rolling. Allison, you cool? Mike, you good? Okay, okay, clear. What if you have two tiers of markets? Thank you, Allison, for that question. If you have two tiers of the market, the thing is, it's, you want them in the door first. So you should always talk about your primary thing initially, whatever your primary portion is, because when they come in, it's like when you go into a store. You know, for example, if you go into Home Depot, Home Depot has home goods, but they have other stuff there too. So you just want to get them in the door. So once they know you do that, and then you sit down at the actual presentation part, then you show them your full menu of services, which is what I'll get into, because I talk about always having a pitch book as well. You should have a pitch book when you are talking to your clients. And I learned that from my construction days and all of that. You know, we always had a pitch book, which you'll put in your references and pictures and testimonials and all that stuff to give you the accreditation when you're sitting down in front of them. That helps give you, and it also puts you a leg up, because most people don't have that when they sit down in front of clients, because clients always say, hey, you have any references? And then you're trying to pluck through your mind and say, we have called this person, that person, versus having it in a book where they can look at them for themselves. And if they want to go investigate further, they can. And of course, there's Google also. So they can always hit the Google search button. So be specific. Number two, give a reason why you're doing what you do. And number three, be comfortable and confident in who you are and what you do. That's the third part of the initial elevator pitch that's important. If you don't sound confident, if you don't sound comfortable, people aren't going to buy into what you do. I mean, good Lord, if you're going to somebody and you are asking them questions and they seem nervous, uncertain, and unsure, sometimes we give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Sometimes we'll say, yeah, they're just nervous. Yeah, exactly. They believe you, so you got to believe you. If you want them to believe you, absolutely. If you don't believe, why would they believe? Because if you aren't confident, then you probably can't deliver that promise that you're making them. See, because especially in the coaching industry and consultants and things of that nature, as a lot of people in here are, you know, if everybody's selling you a bag of goods, but are there really goods in the bag? Is there something really to what you are having to tell these people? Because you'll choke if you get intimidated. Yes, absolutely. You have to be confident. You have to know, but that comes with knowing your stuff. You know, I understand sometimes people get more nervous in front of. Oh, it's okay, Fred. No problem. I'm glad to have you back. Sometimes people get nervous in front of larger clients or people they think or see as what might be larger clients or their audience, actually, because it takes people so long to define their audience, and when they get there, a lot of times they get shaky and they get nervous. So that the third thing I would say is be comfortable and confident in what you are and what you do and who you are. that is the third part of the elevator pitch, so to say, the introduction when you are in a room with people, when you are networking, when you are anywhere. Because if you are a business owner and you aren't talking about your business, you should be ashamed, very, very ashamed, because especially as entrepreneurs, what are your strategies to increase confidence? One, practice, which is why I'm talking about you having a pitch, you actually having written it down. There's confidence. Confidence is bred from knowing a certain thing. Oh, you got the black screen now, Fred. Yes, I told you they changed it a couple nights ago. It does feel a little weird, but yeah, you feel comfortable when you know a subject well. So if you go into an elementary school math class now, we all be very confident if they ask us what's 1 + 1, blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm not in love with all the changes either. It's a little different, but hey, it's still in beta and it's growing. So they are ever present and they will be adapting. If we don't like something, they adapt quickly. Yes. Question embrace the platform. Absolutely. You have to embrace the one thing I will say, the challenge that, and I'm going off track here real quick, with what I see the change here in the Blab now, like the questions, we don't have a tab for them anymore. I think they're going to bring them back. I think they're talking about bringing them back, but that was a great thing to have, just so that we can separate and be able to see the questions, because this chat can really get flowing really quickly on you. Hello, DJ Sincere. How are you? Welcome to Great O'Clock. What we are talking about basically is perfecting. Right now, we're talking about perfecting your elevator pitch. And Allison had a question about increasing confidence. One, write it down, study it, and learn it. That brings you comfort. That brings you confidence. Two, I would say, do some meditations and mantras in the morning. You know, just tell yourself certain things, because the more you hear something, the more you believe things. You tend to believe that, the more you tend to believe things. So you should do some mantras, some affirmations. I'll say, do some affirmations. Those two things are just two tips I would give to increase confidence. Know your stuff. Give yourself some affirmations. Those two things tend to increase confidence exponentially. Any other questions about the elevator pitch, or does somebody want to come up and talk about what they do so we could hear it and give an example? If everyone has an elevator pitch, maybe you shouldn't. Hasn't stopped me. There you go. There you go, Greg. Greg just gave a great point. Hello, Kenneth. Welcome to the room, brother. Great to see you. Kenneth's a great photographer. Glad to have you here. Yeah, speak wherever you're able. I mean, just talk about it. Get used to talking. Talk about it as much as you can, as often as you can. So that's a great tip. Fred, if everyone could you explain that one a little bit, Fred? Yes, the tech section on Blab is a little bit challenging. Welcome, Mr. Oban, my main man, Fred. How are you, sir?
First of all, can you hear and see me?
Yes, we can hear and see you.
Because I've had some issues. Just bought a new HD webcam, and I got to use corner cams and stuff, and they're all conflicting with each other, and it's really quite annoying. Everyone has a 30-second sales pitch, right? And one of the things I discovered very early, I mean, I had one when I moved into the private sector, and next thing I knew, I was just replicating what everybody else was doing. Mm-hmm. And so the whole idea here is to not sound like you're selling something. First of all, establish a social relationship. How, hey, how you doing? Hey, that's a nice toy. Oh yeah, my wife picked it up. Blah 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 blah. Oh, so what do you do? I do business wargaming and red teaming. Period. Now, like 90% of the 90% of the population will go, well, wait a minute, What is that? So the guy is opening the door for further conversation. Now, if he doesn't ask the question, he probably wouldn't be interested in it in the first place. Saved you time, whatever. So it's like one of the best things you can do in an influence operation is don't try to inculcate somebody with a speech right off, or even, or some people's 30-second, some people's elevator pitches, speaking very quickly during the elevator ride.
Yeah.
Always open the door to the question. So if you can say something, it's like Twitter. If you can say something brilliant in 140 characters, or even something reasonably disruptive, and disruptive is not a dirty word, but something that the guy has not heard, your audience has not heard before, and goes, what is that? I want to know more. He's now opened the door to a more detailed conversation.
Right. Absolutely.
Bada boom. So yeah, it is being a little bit disruptive. Now the fact is, we do more than just business, wargaming, and red teaming.
Absolutely.
We do competitive intelligence. We do leadership. We do strategy. We do workshops. Blah 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 blah. But our two most disruptive products are wargaming and red teaming. So always lead with those. Always lead with your most disruptive products, and that will get somebody interested in asking you about everything else you do.
And that is exactly what Allison and I were talking about earlier. She was like, if you have 2 tiers of services, I was like, always lead with your primary, because once you get them in the door, it's a different thing when you actually go into your actual real pitch, because the elevator pitch, I don't think should even be called a pitch. It's more of an introduction. It's how you introduce what you do. That's what it's about. That's really not a pitch. It's just what I do. Somebody says, what do you do? You explain what you do.
Yep.
And why you do what you do. If you can explain those 2 things within, it shouldn't even be 30 seconds. Really, you should be able to cover it in 15. It should not be a long spiel, because people are going to zone out on you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to sound like everybody else, right? So if you're a business, if your business is business coaching or executive coaching or leadership or strategy, or if you're a CPA or whatever, most guys, as soon as you give yourself a label, have already put you in a box.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who are good at inviting the pitch are the ones who want to know who you are, not what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And always lead with who you are. And when who you are is not just your name, but it's also, hey, 10 seconds are left, tell me about your life. Hey, I was in the military for 35 years and I've been working in the private sector as a consultant for the last 5. Rather enjoy it. Bam, end of story. Oh, really? So what do you do? And that's when you say, next thing. Exactly. Always leaving them, or always leaving them to ask you the question. So you don't look like some moron standing on it. And I've seen these guys standing on the elevator going, oh, here's my card, blah, 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 blah. And they're going a mile a minute, and you just want to give them a hard smack because you can hear them. And it's like, this guy is failing all the way down to the bottom floor.
Yeah, they literally business vomit all over you. And nobody likes being vomited on.
No. So you're talking to a guy who probably gets dozens of sales pitches each day.
Exactly.
Verbally, let alone all the spam that you get on email and the unsolicited emails you get either on LinkedIn or other sort of places, or unsolicited DMs and all that kind of stuff saying, oh, like my Facebook page and I'll tell you all about my business.
Yeah. So I mean, that is exactly why I said, we shouldn't really call it an elevator pitch. I said that for the sake of people understanding, because we're getting ready to go.
No, a lot of people do use it on the elevator, though. It's like they try to trap people on the elevator. It's relatively fascinating to watch.
Thanks for coming, Allison. Always good to see you. Yes. So when you are doing your initial business, your explanation of what you do and why you do what you do.
Yep.
You should always be able to, again, 2 words I preach: concise, precise. Don't make it long. Don't tell everything you do. Do you know how long McDonald's commercials would be if they explained everything they did in the McDonald's? Could you imagine how long you'd be sitting there with them talking about that?
Yeah.
So you have to think of your business the same way. Think of yourself as a stock. Would you invest in you if you heard these things? If you set your business up this way, would you invest in you? So always think about what it is you do. Again, be specific, be concise, be precise, and that will get you so much farther. You don't talk about 50 things. We all know you can do 50 things. That's great. But if you do one really well, guess what? They'll pay you for that one. Don't worry about the other 49.
I mean, the three principles of what we call influence, right? Influence communications is, be clear, be concise, be relevant, which is pretty much what Gerald is saying here. And it doesn't matter whether you're doing it in a 10-second conversation or whether you're doing it as part of your larger influence campaign. Be clear, be concise, be relevant. When I'm watching people give pitches to, and I love it when they give pitches because usually my competitors, when watching people give pitches, I mean, they're usually failing 2 out of the 3.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they wonder why their business can't go to the next level. They're sitting there and they're saying, well, I'm doing everything. And usually when people say they've done everything, they've really done 1 or 2 things over and over again really badly. So my thing is, what is everything?
No one wants to hire a jack of all trades.
You're
in the consulting business, you're being used as a targeted weapon system to go after a particular problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to know which weapon to choose. And coming from Fred, I know Fred will speak to that even more. You have to understand which weapon you need at certain times. You can't just go and have the gun out, the knife in your hand, you have the radio, you only have 2 hands. If you try to grab everything, you can't use anything. So again, that's why it's important to understand.
Before you decide which weapon you're going to bring, decide which effect you want on the target.
There you go.
Do I need a sniper rifle or should I bring my flamethrower? Generally, the 2 generally don't work well together.
Absolutely. The flamethrower and the cross both have them. Thank you, Greg. See, I mean, that's so true. That is a very, very true statement. So understanding your audience, that's why I said you have to be specific, you have to be confident, and then you also have to be very make it very relative. And we have a first time I've seen this brother, Aston Ogle, first call in from Aston. So let's see what Aston has to say here, if he has a question or a comment. Hello, Mr. Aston. Welcome, sir.
Hey, how are you guys?
I am wonderful, sir. How are you? How about yourself?
Fabulous, man. I just saw the $1 million pitch, and I'm a networker myself, so I had to jump on this one. I saw a couple other ones that didn't interest me, and this one's always good, man. It's a good one.
Awesome. So, Aston, I'm going to ask you the $1 million question. Well, this really is not the $1 million question. This title is kind of broad. We're narrowing it down, though. I broke it down into 2 sections. I want to talk first about how people introduce themselves, which is why people can't get to the meeting, the actual sales part, because their introduction is so bad that I don't want to talk to you again. So, true. And then the actual pitch is different. So what do you do, brother?
I'm basically a network marketer in the 5G wearable technology sector. It's basically what I do. I'm selling products, selling phones, and also wearable technology. That's basically it. And on the free time, I do some Facebook fan pages as well, just for like extra time. But that's my main business is the technology.
Okay, so what problem are you solving for people? See, this is how I help people write their pitch.
The problem that I'm solving is basically a lot of people are spending a lot of money on phones, and my phone is half the price. It's also a cheaper rate plan. You can create your own rate plan, And you own your own network. You're not running off of anyone else's network. This is your own proprietary network that you make yourself. So it helps save a lot of money, and you're using a product that everyone uses at a cheaper price.
Okay. So the thing you're solving for them is money.
Yes.
Are you solving money? Okay, great. So that should be part of your initial conversation with them.
Okay.
So you need to include that in there. So we're going to play with this a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. So you're solving money, and go ahead, say one more time what you do.
I'm trying to help people save money by using their cell phones, and also gaining their own network. So you're not running off of Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, or any carrier throughout the world. You're running off the company, which is World Global Network, and you're running off their 5G proprietorship network, which is your own network. You have your own towers, and etc. Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, now the average consumer won't know what the heck that means. You know, they get it when you explain it that long, but okay, I'm working with, I'm listening.
I'm here, man. I'm here. I'm trying to get knowledge too, man. Help me out.
I'm going to. Fred, do you have any questions for him? Because Fred,
my first question would be, you know, when you meet people, say, hey, what do you spend on carrier-free fees? Question mark. Bam. And someone might say, oh, I don't know, $110 a month or whatever, and you go, really? Wow. That prompts them to ask you the next question.
Right.
Exactly. That's true.
You don't go into, well, did you know that my company, you know, XYZ can get you all that stuff and 10 megabits per whatever. People don't want to hear, you know, the technical gobbledygook. You know what? Yeah, I can do that for $50, $40, $50. Hell, the company, you know, he says, why are you spending so much? You can get it for $40 or $50. Hell, the company I sell it for sells it for $50. They go, boom. Have them pose the question to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's you know, it's like someone the other night said, "Oh, I love your headset that you're wearing." I said, "Oh, thank you very much. It's really clear." And this guy had one of these $100 sort of big, you know, those big Mondo microphones that echo like crazy that people are buying. I don't know why they buy them, but and they said, well, where'd you get those headphones? They're, you know, the sound is really clear. And I said, well, I bought them for, you know, $20 at Best Buy. So the other three people in the screen were saying, oh, my headphones cost $100 and he sounds so clear. What maker are they? And I went, I don't know. It's all written in Chinese, so Christ knows where it's from. So, you know, it's, you know, if I was selling headphones, that would be great. But always pose, you know, if you're trying to do direct sales, always pose a question to the guy.
Absolutely.
But not a direct question. You know, if you see a guy standing on a phone, you go, hey, nice phone. Wow. Elevator's going down. Well, you pay for service fees.
Let me ask you this, guys. I mean, a lot of the people that I'm talking that in our team, they're saying that the product you have. I mean, it's best if you have the product, of course. I mean, you can show it, but I'm seeing on Facebook a lot of people that are posting the same thing, and I'm wondering, like, what can I do to not? I mean, I'm not really like into Facebook. I'm not out there on Facebook like that. I'm trying to get another avenue where I can post, like probably Google Plus or whatever, so I can get me branded as myself, as not as just a Facebook guy that's posting on Facebook, you know. Apparently it's not working.
Okay, here's the first answer to that. I mean, Gerald and I have had this question before on Blabs, and it's really quite simple. First of all, do an analysis of where you think your customers are, where your paying customers are. Are they on Twitter? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Okay, you're not going to sell people cell phone plans on LinkedIn. They won't care, right?
Yeah, of course.
So find out where potential customers are, and that's where you put most of your social media aspect of your business. But understand something, If social media is the only aspect of your influence operations in a business, frankly, you are giving way too much credit to social media.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My thing would be, as Fred said, understand your audience, which really goes back to even your introductory of your business. Dorisha was asking it, and I haven't seen Dorisha in a while. Glad to see her. Glad to have her in the room.
She's got a hell of a hairstyle. I'll say that.
Yeah,
Great person, man. I can't
yes.
grow hair like that.
And she is a brilliant woman too. She's very intelligent. But she was asking, like, like, how do you figure out what to bring when you're talking to a complete stranger? And you do that actually in two ways. One, by how you present your business, because if you're very specific about what you do, they will know they're not your client. So you don't have to waste your time. And secondly, you do it through asking questions. That's how you figure out what weapon you need, because we all have more than one weapon in the toolbox. So you don't want to bring every weapon, but you need to know which weapon to reach for.
I've only got one, my warm, cuddly personality, but
And see, and plus Fred always brings gummy bears with him, so he cheats.
Hey, here you go, have some gummy bears.
That's true.
Oh man, yeah.
You know what? When you're practicing this, always pretend. First of all, pretend the guy doesn't have a cell phone. Pretend the guy doesn't have a computer. The only thing you might, at the end, you might be asked to give us a business card. Never leave with a business card. That's bad news. That's just rude.
Yeah.
Okay. When you're selling a product, when you're selling a service, when you're selling anything, be it whether you're the president of the company or whether you're one of the associates, you are ultimately selling yourself. You are selling your character.
It's true.
Okay. So, and people's character meters generally work very, very well. Whether you want to have 1 minute more worth of conversation with somebody after you talk to them. That's one of the things I like about Blab, because you may take months to figure out on Twitter whether, hey, I like what this guy's saying, but for all I know, he's regurgitating it out of a book.
Absolutely.
It's true.
Whereas something like Blab, within the first few minutes of a conversation, whether you want to listen to the rest of it. That's how Gerald and I met. I went, hey, I like what this guy's saying. I'm going to listen for 5 more minutes, and then next thing you know, it's 90 minutes later.
Yeah, I mean, I was on the Blab with Dorisha the other day, and that's how I met her. So it was kind of cool.
And since Fred and I met, we are always exchanging information. Usually, if he does a Blab, I'll always come in and support him. If I do a Blab, he always comes and supports me. And this is speed relationship. Blab has taken social media and turned it into social relationship. So the amount of time that it takes to feel comfortable and confident in what someone can do and the information they're able to give is cut down significantly. So this is like relationship 2.0. So Fred's in Canada. I've never met him in person, but I know I know the individual that he is now. So if I'm doing anything on leadership, I want Fred there. It's just that simple. If I'm doing anything, and I can say that honestly after only knowing him a few weeks, versus where, like you said, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, even on LinkedIn. I can look at all his, what do they call them? Endorsements, and then somebody's written them some reviews and all that, but those are generally people that so of course they're going to praise you. I still don't know the individual himself yet, so this introduces you to
you do. There's not much left after all this, so
no, I'm saying LinkedIn. I'm saying through LinkedIn. Through here,
okay.
I know him now. That's what I'm saying. I feel like
I'm shallow. What do you want? I mean,
exactly. So back to you, Ashton. Here's what I would say. With your pitch, you give me your pitch one more time, and I've reworked what I heard from you. I really don't know anything about your business, but this is just something that came to me from what you said. Just tell me what you do again, and then I'll give you what you do from my perspective.
Okay, I'm basically a salesperson for a company called World Global Network, and we're looking to help save people's bills on their cell phone, whether it be in the 5G tech, wearable tech, or selling products. That's basically it.
Okay. So, all right, that's cool. That was more concise. Now you just need it to sound a little more exciting,
Okay.
so that it, like, oh wow, that's great. So what I wrote down, and this I wrote down from when you first said something. You know, I help people save money through wearable technology through a private network that introduces them to a new world of what kind of bills? What'd you say the bills were?
Well, it's wearable tech. I mean, it's just lowering your bill.
Yeah.
You can create your own bill basically, whether it be long distance. You can add your own long distance. You can add cloud service, whatever.
Okay, so just say through my own private network. So I help people save money through wearable technology through my own private network.
Simple. Yeah, that's good.
Are you wearing the technology when you speak to these people?
That's the thing. Like I'm waiting to buy it. I just got in the company like 2 months ago. So that's the thing. That's what I was saying. I think if I have the wearable tech and also have the phone, it'll be an easier something I could show somebody. You know.
Absolutely, and that's the other part. So if you have it on you now, did that pitch sound like something that would
Yeah, that
be
sounds good.
interesting to you?
That
Like
sounds
like
real
like
good.
if somebody, yeah, like if somebody just said, hey, well, what do you do? I help people save money through wearable technology through my own private network. People be like, your own private network, because that's going to be the thing. What do you mean your own
Yeah,
private network? Then you
yeah,
can
that's true.
explain about
That's a
how the
conversation.
5G works, all this other stuff, because you're telling them that they won't be on Verizon, that it's your own private network. So you claim it yourself. You see what I'm saying? And it makes
That's
it concise, it makes it precise. And you said that didn't even take 10 seconds.
I might have to steal that, Gerald. I'm sorry.
You're not still, it's not for me. I did that because, it's not my business.
Yeah,
So
that's good. That's good. That's real good. I like it.
I'm
I
just
like it a
saying,
lot.
so
That's good.
As you
yeah.
know, Gerald, I take on a few startups pro bono as part of our our corporate ethos. Every big client we get, we take a local guy pro bono. And here's some piece of advice. This guy was a one guy startup. He had developed outstanding voice dictation software, voice character recognition software for the iPhone. I mean, like, if you ever used this stuff before on an iPhone or an iPad, it was like it used up like 16 gig and all this kind of crap. So what the guy did is he built an algorithm which piggybacked on series recognition, so that when you talked, it would start typing for you
Oh, wow.
in
Cool.
either Canada's official languages. This guy was 21 years old, and he said he had a hard time. He went to Ottawa business bureaus and stuff like that, Better Business, and wasn't getting any help there. And I said, listen, this is a great product. So this is what you do. Instead of hanging out here in the suburbs, living in your mom's basement and watching Star Trek when you're not developing apps, put on a decent suit. Took him to Moore's. We got him a nice suit, not the one he would have chosen, and said, takes elevator rides, hang around in coffee shops, downtown in the business sector.
There you go.
And in the governmental sectors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and dictate stuff. Get on elevator. Just talk about any business or whatever, and use the biggest Mondo phone you can find. He used an iPad Mini, and this thing was just very, very fast. And people were saying, that is fantastic. I've tried to use things like that before. Why is yours running so well? This is one I built myself. And I'm thinking about marketing it. And he would walk away. People were chasing this asshole.
There you go.
He would sit there in a Starbucks and he would start dictating his book. And people would say,
wow.
Because if you ever use character recognition software in an iPad or any mobile device, it just doesn't have the chutzpah that a PC does to actually do some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So he just was using something which piggybacked on the normal stuff. And 3 weeks later, somebody bought him out, bought his patent, bought the whole 9 yards.
Oh wow.
And which was his whole business vision. He didn't want to actually do this as a business. He wanted money.
Exactly.
Right.
And he says, yeah, I want to retire before I'm 25. And I said, okay, what have you got? And he showed me a bunch of apps he had built, and I went, okay, dumb. Tell me about this one. And I said, listen, you don't need a marketing program. All marketing program, you don't even need a personal strategy. You just need someone to buy this from you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I sent them to all places where all the venture capitalists hung out.
See, and see, and this is what I talk to people about all the time. Like, coaching is invaluable, man. We all need somebody to help us go to that next level. And okay, Joe, I'm sorry, Joe, but no, we don't do that in here.
What the hell?
Who's the Joe Show?
Well,
Just give me a good reason not to go visit it.
Yeah, well, he's gone now. Bye, Joe. He has been removed. We don't do that. Yeah, just
kind of hard to have a conversation though when this thing's going on in the sidebar. Oh, you can delete that. Excellent. Yep. Excellent.
And I did. So done.
Darisha is obviously a woman of discerning taste who has been able to get all that stuff.
Yes, thank you, Darisha. And Darisha, if you want to jump in here, I mean, it'd be great. We were just talking about the elevator pitch. Did that help you at all, Aston? Do you have a coach? Let me ask you that.
I do not have a coach, and it was definitely very helpful. I mean, I've gone from many different companies, but this is actually one that I feel like it has a lot of potential, and the growth is definitely growing. They're growing very fast at the top. They're number 4 right now, and I feel like this is something that I could actually put an effort towards. Like, a lot of them are just like, hey, I'll do it for a couple months, and it's like I don't feel the desire. But this one, I feel like I might go hard on this one.
Okay. What makes this one feel different to you?
Well, first thing, the team that we're in the team, and it's the team is very, very helpful, and they've got a great connection with leadership, and they're telling us when stuff is opening and what countries they're working on. Whereas I've been in a couple companies where it's just you never know what's going to happen or if they're going to be around or anything, and how long, and you just invest in money that you don't have. Like I don't have tons of dollars to invest, but I would definitely invest in something like this because I feel like it's going to help me down the long run.
Hi, Jennifer. Welcome to the room. We're just talking about right now. We were going through the elevator pitch part, and well, let me change that language because I hate the language. Your business, your quick business introduction. That's more what it is. I can't stand the elevator pitch because it's really not meant for the elevator, and it's really not a pitch. It's just telling people what you do. So Aston had a question, and we were working on some things. So I'm glad we were able to help Aston. Please stick around, brother. We're gonna go into a little bit more stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely here for. I'm here for a little bit. I'm on a webinar at 10 p.m. So I just came in here just to see what's going on. Get some knowledge and then
cool.
Push up on it.
Awesome. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. If you want, you can check us out at any time. We're here every Monday and Wednesday.
Okay, cool.
Mondays at 8 and Wednesdays at 8.
Well, I followed
That's
you
why
now.
we call it Radio O'Clock.
I'll definitely get on more of you guys' stuff. Where are you guys from anyway? I know you said he's from.
I'm from Washington, D.C.
Oh, D.C. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm in New Jersey. New Jersey.
Oh, okay. So you're an East Coast guy. We're all on the same time zone still, though.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, that's very important.
That is cool. So, all right. Well, you can hang out for a second. We're off of the elevator pitch part now, or the business introduction. Now, I would say I would want to talk about if we're perfecting your $1 million pitch, we have to look at the actual pitch. How do you do your presentation? And I know we don't have time to do full presentations here and things of that nature, and I know we wouldn't have time to do that. One of the things that when you're doing your actual pitch, your actual presentation, first word of advice I give everyone in any industry is have your price book. You have to know your numbers. You can't walk in and try to figure it out when you're sitting down in front of a client. Now, the good thing is if you're in direct sales, they already have the number for you. But for entrepreneurs, that is one of their biggest challenges. They don't know what they're charging.
Well, know what you're going to charge beforehand, but also understand what your competitors
Are
are
charging.
charging
Yeah, absolutely.
beforehand.
Yeah.
So understand what the competitive environment, what the baseline is for stuff. Yeah,
That's true.
which is something I had to learn the hard way when I started moving into the private sector.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the challenge for a lot of people. Understanding how to price. They don't know why. They don't want to price too high, and then they don't want to price too low, and all that type of stuff. If it's your business, you want to be competitive, but if you think you're Bergdorf Goodman, charge like you're Bergdorf Goodman, but you better be able to deliver on Bergdorf Goodman type of quality.
True.
And that's the thing.
That's true.
So if you are saying you want to charge in an industry, like for example, I do business cultivation. I call it cultivation instead of coaching because coaching is so overused. Don't want to get lumped in. So if I'm telling people it's $5,000 a month, I can't give them service that's worth $1,000 a month. You know, because basically, as when you're in the service industry, you want people to look at you as an investment and not a bill. Do you understand what I mean when I say that? Let me just go a little further. I know
Well, people at first are more interested in the capability that you bring
exactly
as to opposed to how much you cost.
right.
And you will find your price niche in terms of that balanced capability. If you're really, really good at something, you really enjoy doing it, don't do it for free. When I moved into the private sector, I was charging $750 a day. I was getting lots of contracts. I'm going, gee, I must be really good. And then someone said, no, you're like half the cost. What you're producing, you're charging about half of what the mediocre guys are charging. And I went, oh, okay. So $1,500 a day. And they go, yeah. But if you're really good at it, the guys who are really making good money, I'm making $2K, $3K. And then I got some guys on my team who were like $3K a day guys that I could sell. And all of a sudden I said, you know what, not going to get out of bed unless, it's like $3K a day. The good thing about charging something which is consistent with your capabilities that you bring is that you don't have to do it every single day.
Yes.
It gives you a little bit more of a relaxed lifestyle. When you're doing it for $750 a day and you're going, yeah, look at all the contracts I'm getting, but your quality of life sucked. I retired at 55 and I said, I'm going to do something just to keep me, to keep my brain sharp. And then I realized, hey, you can't get paid for it today. And then I realized that, there's only 5 companies globally that do the kind of stuff that we do. I'm going, yeah, why the hell am I only charging $750 a day? So if you've got wearable tech that you're selling, and by the way, there's not a lot of wearable tech that people are, I'm not talking about the Fitbits and the other. Yeah,
all that. That's really not wearable tech. It's a watch. It's a watch with a calibrator on it.
Right. Okay. So like some of these pucks that guys are wearing now. Okay, for skin contact communications. You dropped into one of those chats that one guy was trying to sell to the military the other day, Gerald, and I said, yeah, guys in the battlefield aren't running around with iPhones, but nice try. But if you've got a wearable tech and it appears to be disruptive, it appears to be unique, don't wear it on your sleeve, wear it on your forehead. And that's a metaphor, but but right. Don't wear it on your forehead. But show it off.
Yeah.
Show Absolutely. It off. Nothing beats, especially if you're selling kit, like a physical manifestation of something. Wear it, use it, right? It's like that guy on Shark Tank, the guy that Damon John. The guy that does FUBU and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, Damon John.
All the stuff he wears is stuff that his companies make.
Of course, yeah.
He wears his style, right? Lori Grenier only wears stuff that she sells on QVC. Right? So, that's it's subliminal advertising.
Yeah, you have to be your biggest client.
Oh yeah, you got to be your biggest fan.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. You know, I have a fragrance line.
Mhm.
I created a few years ago, and I wear it. And I know I'm not going to smell like anybody else in the room. It's a conversation starter. You know,
Mhm.
what's
Well,
that?
I don't smell like anybody else in the room, and I don't even wear a fragrance. But I'm mildly interested here, Rev. What is the name of your fragrance?
Oh wow, I actually have 6 fragrances. So
Okay.
the line is called G Night, but it's Nightfall, that's for guys. Nightfall Maiden is for women. Poetry and abstraction are what we call shared fragrances. Unisex is not the term anymore. And then Black Night is for guys. And then I also have Tu il amore eterno, which is Italian for my eternal love. I know you know Fred. Fred speaks so many languages. That's what makes him so cool. Smart guy, speaks a bunch of languages.
That's
But
cool.
the thing is that you have to be your own billboard. Like you said, Aston, the first thing you need to do is get some of the tech.
Mhm.
Get the tech, have the tech, because then you can explain it better anyway.
Yeah.
Because now you've experienced it. Now you can even tell them some of the challenges with it, because that's what people look for. Because most people don't want to tell you if it's a challenge. They just want to talk about how great it is.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? You can say, well, I've seen this and that, but they've improved X, Y, and Z about it. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that gives you a different stance as a representative of that company. So,
And if you're a representative of that company and you're going to be one of their point guys out there selling this stuff,
Mhm.
you have to, they have to have skin in the game with you, and you have to have skin in the game with them. So if you're going to be the guy out there, your first question to your company is, what higher level influence operations are you putting out there to assist me?
Mhm.
Right? What is our agreed sales message here? Because I'll tell you, if I'm assuming there's other guys out there, there's other associates, and if there's not unity of communication of all those various sales reps, boy, this stuff goes south real quickly.
Mhm.
I've seen that in a lot of startups, especially on the tech side.
absolutely. Now, I'm going to say to you, Aston, I don't know the company, but I'm hearing that it's an MLM, if I'm correct, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Did they give you the video, or are they doing the just send them to the website and let the website sell them thing?
No, to be honest, I'll be honest with you. The website really doesn't have that much on there. It's like it's got the gist of what it is, but it doesn't, like, we have tons of videos and stuff like that. But the website per se, if you go to the website, it's really like not. It doesn't really have that much on there. I'll be honest with you. It's really low key kind of website where it's like it basically makes you want to talk to somebody. You're just like, hey,
Right,
what's going on?
right. So, what tools have they given you? I guess that's what Fred was really asking. Like, what tools have they given you to sell the product? Because usually, what a lot of companies do that are MLMs, they give you 3 things, or one of 3 things, or 2 of 3 things. They'll give you either a video, and where you can drive them to a website, or a video that you can pop in, a DVD or something where they can watch, that will do the presentation for you, because they don't want you to be, as I like to say, ignorance on fire. You're just fired up, you love the company,
Yeah.
you want to recruit. No, they try to limit that now because they got into a lot of trouble. So that's why they try to give you the DVDs. They'll try to have you send them to a website, maybe pass out a phone number that does an introductory call from maybe your upline or something.
Mhm. Well,
Did they give you any of that type of stuff?
Here's how ours does it. We have videos. We have a website. Basically, you can sign up from the website directly. We also have videos that are basically floating around from the company, because they have their social media as well. And our group is we have tons of videos that are put out there about the wearable tech, and also about the phones itself. And and we also have videos on the presentation on what the comp plan is if we want to go deeper into the plan as well. And what we do is we have with the wearable tech, we also have a platform which is like a webinar platform that comes with it.
Right.
And we basically just every day we have a webinar which presents the product to different people that are interested in, and we invite them to that webinar.
That's what I was asking. What vehicle are they using so that the presentation is presented without you having to do the presentation?
Yeah. That's what.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. It's usually a website, one of those three things. And with you guys, what they're doing is a webinar. Are you doing like public meetings and stuff still though, like meetups, private business receptions?
Yeah. My upline is in California, so he's been doing a lot of events on Saturdays, but I'm on the East Coast, so it's kind of like I'm like the only one over here on the East Coast really that's really building it, and like there's no other leaders. It's like my whole leadership team is in California, so it's kind of like, hey, okay. I can't go to these live events because I'm not gonna fly to California anytime soon, but I want to start doing one myself, but I got to get as much information so I can share it with a live event.
Okay, you know? so you're still pretty new at it.
Yeah. I was gonna say that I've been in 2 months, you know, and like right now I've gotten a couple people in it, and I'm running off of their help as well. But I want to get to the point where I'm just like, hey, I'm the guy on the East Coast. Let's start doing some work here. I don't want to rely on them, but sometimes I have to kind of.
Yeah, you're stripped between a rock and a hard place, though, because if you do want to break out in this market, you want to make sure you got top cover from the company in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say that if you have a degree of interest and passion for opening it up the East Coast, and you've had, had adult conversations with your West Coast leadership, then the first thing that West Coast leadership should be doing is sending you a frickin' airline ticket to get you out there and dumping all, because essentially this is all tax deductible for you, to all your demonstration tech. They should be sending it to you out by FedEx the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not, you're going to have to ask some serious questions about these guys.
Yeah, it sounds like these guys are pretty new. Sounds like I haven't heard of the company. So what, they've been around like maybe 3-4 years or something?
Yeah, they've been around literally 3 years. They've been around since 2011. They're based on.
I'm right on point. See, because I know the industry. That's what I'm saying. I know the industry well. So
yeah.
Are they based in Palo Alto?
No, they're not. They're not. They have offices. They have 100. They're opening offices all over. They're based out of Singapore, actually.
Okay, I do a lot of business in Singapore, so.
Yeah. They're based out. They're based out of Singapore, and they're opening. They've opened a couple offices throughout the world already. They've just they've got 2 offices, one in Miami and one in New York, and that's basically their U.S. and then the rest is different entities overseas.
Ashton, here's the last thing I'll say, because I really don't know the company, so I can't really expound upon it.
Mm-hmm.
But new startups in MLMs, and you being the only representative here, you really need help. Because a company that's only 4 years old doesn't have enough representatives that you can point to in your area because everybody wants POC, proof of concept.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to know, well, you just got in 60 days ago. How much money have you made?
Exactly.
And you can't even point to your upline because your upline's not there. Your upline's in California, and they're going to be like, man, that guy could be telling you anything. Come on, you in Jersey. You know how everybody rolls. That's what they're going, man, that dude could be telling you anything. I don't know him.
Exactly.
And well, I'm on a webinar with him every night. So what? You see what I'm saying? They want to see checks. They want to see you moving up. So that's the challenge when you come into.
Yeah, but they've got to enable them too.
Exactly. That's what I'm going to say.
If you have a series of global offices, unity of purpose and action amongst the distribution of global offices is absolutely essential.
Mm-hmm.
Generally people shouldn't be handing out franchises unless you've at least met. And if they think you're the guy, they should be flying you out to the nearest leadership office where you can cement that personal relationship.
Mhm.
And thirdly, they should be dumping all the sample tech they can on you so that you can show it
It's
to
true.
clients,
It's true. I
so
never
that
think
you
about it.
can be wearing it. And if they're not doing that, you better ask some very serious questions about these guys.
Yeah.
So I know how some of these Singapore companies work. Do a lot of business in Singapore.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there's a certain mentality in their business world there. They're, you know, they really are a knowledge-based economy over there in Singapore. But I've done work for guys in Singapore. OCBC Bank in Singapore is one of my clients, and you know, aside from the fact that the 12-hour time difference, you know, video conferences are a pain in the ass.
Mhm.
2 times a year they do fly me out there.
Okay.
Okay,
Good.
so because we're not going to be doing this stuff on video. If you want me to do this work, we need to do some of this face to face. And if they're serious, you know, they'll spend the $3,000-4,000 to fly you to Singapore.
See the difference though is only a slight difference within the MLM market, Fred. Those guys.
Oh no, I got the whole MLM thing right off the bat, and that's one of the warning bells that went off.
Yeah, I saw your face. I know, and then he said Singapore, so that's an extra bell because, here's what I'll say, brother. I can't talk to the legitimacy of the company. The comp plan, I'm quite sure, is probably quite phenomenal because, especially since they are new, they can afford to kind of throw bigger bones at you because it isn't a lot of people in the pipeline just as of yet. You need, though, some questions answered or somebody that can guide you. If anything, at the least, they should fly someone out here, your upline, who is your direct connection to the company and supposed to be your coach, at the least should be coming out here to meet with you and get you started up in this MLM thing. Because in the bigger MLMs, if you join a Primerica, if you join a 5 Links, if you join even a Melaleuca, you know, those are larger MLM companies, and their leadership, they don't play because they've been around.
But they are accountable for his actions. So if they have not come out to meet him,
that's what I said. That's what's bothering me. That's what I said. The upline normally will come to you because they don't want you to go out and
Singapore companies I've worked for are very prescriptive that way. They usually put a lot of time and money into building the basic sales package.
Yes.
Some slight variations based on which cultures they're going to.
Absolutely.
A lot of Dubai head offices are actually in Singapore. Go figure out why. Usually because it's cheaper. And they will come up with sales packages per region. And guys in Singapore generally like you to follow their kind of sales package. So if they don't have that, and it's a bit of an Asian thing, but you got to understand the culture. It's a collectivist culture over there. We're an individualist culture over here. Not saying one is better or bad. It's just different cultures. But they're very highly prescriptive about what's in the package. What are your authorities, responsibilities, and accountabilities as a sales rep?
Absolutely.
They're usually highly prescriptive about that. So if they're not being prescriptive about that, slavishly prescriptive about that, warning bells should be going off.
Yeah,
these guys could be the best thing since sliced bread, but if they haven't got that yet, that should be a warning signal.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's all I'm saying. We see, Fred and I, that's why we get along, because we think a lot alike. I'm just saying, and I have to welcome my brother Cherry Street Boxer. I have to ask you your name because I feel weird calling you Cherry Street. So. Your mic, I can't hear you, brother. Did you authorize the microphone? You
hear me now?
There you go.
All right, maybe I got plugged in. Maybe it doesn't taking the mic off the computer. We'll try something else.
Okay.
Going back.
Well, welcome, brother. What's your name, Cherry Street? It's my first time getting to meet you.
My name is Mike. So I've owned a couple traditional franchises, and found out that I was less of a owner than I ever thought I was. When you had a regional district manager, one business that was the father of the owner of the company, and made things pretty difficult. Didn't like a lot of the stuff I was doing, wasn't on board with all the marketing and things that I had promoted. I don't know. There's a lot of politics in being in a real franchise.
And what you're describing wasn't just a franchise model, but also a family-based franchise. Family-based franchise.
Well, the one I owned a boxing gym, and I'm not going to say the name. Was a corporation, and the other one was a family-owned business. It was a shed business and a cabin business, but they were both traditional franchises, and I did really well with the shed business until they started peeing in my Cheerios, and they didn't like a lot of the tactics I had for marketing. They said I was competing. I drove a lot of the internet business. And I beat them up the list on Google searches, and they got mad about that because they would be like third down the list of I'm not gonna say the company's name, but there was two dealers, me and one other guy, that beat the parent company's search engine. If you search them, you would find us before them. And I had driven a lot of sales through my social media marketing and electronic marketing, and they seem to have a big issue with that. We thought it wasn't fair for the other dealers that weren't so tech savvy, which was kind of odd. But with this is free enterprise. But I had a company that's base model was based off of on the East Coast Amish labor, and on the West Coast Mennonite labor, building our sheds and cabins. And so a lot of them own franchises, and the Mennonites are like what I call Amish on steroids. So they have technology, but they're not so savvy with it, especially on the internet. And there was a lot of resentment towards me when I became like within 2 months becoming California's #1 dealer, like literally from the second month I was in business. And then it just made my life terrible and stuff, always trying to find something I was doing wrong, something wrong with the paperwork, or something just stupid. And I finally ended up there's a couple things that happened in my life that were pretty significant, but I ended up selling my business and getting back into car sales again as an internet manager. Like every time I need to make good money, and if anybody thinks car sales is hard work, it's the easiest job there is. 90% of the time you do nothing, and 10% you make a good 6-figure income if you know how to be relatable to people. You don't have to sell. You just got to be a tour guide of a car, because by the time they come and see you on a lot and stuff, they've already pretty much made up their mind on 2 or 3 models and brands of cars, and all you got to do is show them why yours is better than the other 2 they were looking at.
Car consumers said they are much better informed than they were 20 years ago.
Yeah, I don't hard sell anybody anymore. The only thing is now is marketing yourself and getting your name out there and getting referral business. That's where I'm online now again, because I need to find a way to generate that referral business without spending a ton of money, because I don't have the instead of making with the shed business, making maybe an average of $500 commission on a sale, and sometimes much more than that. Now I'm looking at I can't go spend $150 on leads and stuff and maybe make only $200. Sometimes we get a jumbo and stuff. I had 2 jumbos this last week, which were $1,000 commissions per vehicle. But that's not the norm. Stuff the norm is probably and around the $300 something range, the $400 range per car. So now when I was using the Facebook and the leads generation source, and you pay $3 to $5 for somebody that was specifically looking at like I sell Toyotas. Okay, so a fan of Toyota, so I could get everybody that works at the hospital over here in my town, at Mercy Hospital, that's a fan of Toyotas, that's on Facebook, or a fan of 4x4s. But you got to pay those leads $3 to $5, and then out of that, maybe 1 in 15 might turn into a sale, because you got to find that out of that. You got to find that 2% of the market that's ready to buy at the time. Right. There's only 2% of anybody in the market at that time is ready to buy a car. Right. So that's a kind of a.
So that's pretty cool. So you're back in the car sales right now.
Yeah, I've been in and out of car sales for 20 years now.
Okay.
Every time I need to, like here's what happened. Like 20 years ago, I needed a job. I got my Class A license. If you go online and just look on the Craigslist or whatever, wherever your job sites are, what's always hiring? Truck drivers and car sales.
Always car sales. Always.
So, I got my Class A license, and then I turned into a car salesman when I found out how easy it was to make money at it.
So you said you wanted to say something to Aston, I think, because of the situation he was in.
Well, he's dealing with a franchise he doesn't know a whole lot about, and I wouldn't be investing a whole bunch of money into this until I'm pretty sure that there's a solid foundation on this business, because these are multi-level marketing businesses start up and go like overnight and stuff. There's I could tell you one about I was involved in a few years ago. I've been a professional boxer, not on a high end level since like that was back in the late 90s and early 2000s, but now I just do like tough man fights. But there was this company going around called Omnitrition, selling stuff and nutritional products. Well, it had ephedrine in it. Well, they outlawed that ephedrine. That company went under like just about overnight and stuff. A lot of people were in there were making a good 5-figure incomes per month with this company. They're making $8,000-9,000 a month, and that ended like very quickly. So you got to be careful with something that's very new, especially where where you don't even have an upline support that's even with you to help you and guide you, and you need. I know everybody could do these webinars now and things like that, but you still need the mentor and the coaching and advice when you're doing multi-level to be successful at it. I've done Amway. I did this Omnitrition.
Well, let's not say their names on there. I don't want to get into.
Well, that other one's gone now, yeah. But anyways, but yeah, I would just not. I'd be wary about how much investment you're going to put into this. And as far as
and Aston, my last thing I would say to you is, again, really standing on the shoulders of what Fred said, because he knows this industry just as well as I do. We've both been around business for quite a while. If they are not sending their upline to make sure that you are executing or know how to execute, especially if you are the only representative on the East Coast, like in that market in New Jersey, you need to ask some questions. Because if he can't pay for a flight to meet you, you may not want to be in that company, and he's your upline.
But I was like what? Sorry, was it Mike?
Yes, Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
I kind of like what Mike was saying, though. That was kind of interesting, and it speaks to a higher leadership issue. And sometimes you see this in family businesses. I have seen franchises where some local franchises have outperformed all other regional franchises. Sometimes a metropolitan franchise will beat an entire state franchise, right? Yep. And I've seen some cases where, well, again, not mentioning companies' names, because we did this as we brought in by a joint venture capitalist to do a post-mortem on this company before they were doing the valuation on it. And I said it would have been just so easy for leadership to say, or for either the shed business or the gym business, whichever one you were talking about, for the leadership to come and say, what are you doing to get higher SEO values and stuff? one of the first things I would have done is, first of all, I would have given you a franchise bonus. Second thing was I would have said, okay, maybe you should be the regional franchise owner. Or maybe you should be running a seminar. By the way, I'll pay you to do that to all the other franchise owners to increase their visibility. That would have been so easy to do. And by the way, a hell of a lot less expensive than hiring some media company to do this. This is called just good after action reviewing, right? Taking best practices and bring them forward. And whatever he would have paid you for that increased capability would have been, still would have been serious bucks for you, but it would have been nickels and dimes in terms of what he would have charged a large scale consultant like PwC or Deloitte or somebody else to do that kind of analysis. You know what? If something's working, it's like when you said peeing in your Cheerios or pissing in somebody's Cheerios. Were you in the military, Mike?
No, I have not.
Because that's usually a term that the military guys like using. Either don't pee in my Cheerios, don't pee in my mess tins. One of the two. They work reasonably well. Right. The first time you hear it, you go, "Hey, that's pretty hilarious." But yeah, this one of the things that you learn from military perspective when we do after action reviews and operations is to create that mechanism of discovery for leadership and mechanism of voice for for the troops, for the franchise owners. In your particular case, the mechanism of discovery for leadership was there, but they didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, I was basically an older gentleman was a regional rep, and he just wasn't on board with new technology. He was hardly ever even texting, let alone anything else that was going on. You're
going to see that sometimes, and that's. Gee, I don't know what to tell you. When people become flawed in a franchise, that's the biggest problem. And some franchises try to build themselves like corporate hierarchies. And there's nothing wrong with hierarchies, but there's a time and place for them. Hierarchies unto themselves are not bad. It's how people use them, which is BAD, right?
Right.
And that's essentially what you're describing here. That's a shame.
Yeah, the one thing I could tell Aston here from experience, like from a coaching experience and from a learning experience from boxing, you could take that into business. And you got to, this is what I imagine. What I tell brand new boxers. I said, you got to take away whatever you think you know about boxing. And we got to imagine we're building a high rise building. Okay. What the first thing we got to do, we got to dig in a hole in the ground and lay the cement for a good foundation, because we can't build the 50th floor before there's a foundation on that building. So you got to have a foundation that in any business. So you got to lay that foundation before you get up to that 50th floor.
So here's the thing, Aston. Has any of this helped you? First of all, we're coming to near the 9:30 hour. We're going to go off the record in a second. Do you have any other questions? Because this is really about your pitch. And we're going a little off topic because we see that you have a slight challenge there with what's happening in the company. You're confident.
And Mike's point about foundation here is very, very appropriate.
Right, and you're confident about the company. You're confident about the comp plan. You don't sound very confident in the company though. So.
Your body language was oozing a lack of confidence when you were talking about the company.
Exactly. So has this helped you first? Question one.
Yeah, it definitely helped me a lot. I know for a fact I've done my research on it, so I know a lot about the company. And I've done many different network marketing companies, so I know I've lost a lot of money, and I've also gained a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like it's not the first thing I've done. They're also publicly traded, so I've been doing a lot of research on the company. So like a lot of your questions did help, some I did like some of the questions I had the answers to, but I'm trying to figure out what you guys were saying was the main thing, and I got a lot of information from it. So yeah, I will definitely look into more into your question and getting them resolved for sure.
The best MLMs I've ever seen, the ones that operate really well from a leadership perspective.
Was that?
They give vision and strategy top down, but they let the representatives design their own mission based on that, because no two missions will be the same depending on what your competitive environment is like, and then refinement goes bottom up. And you can't have one or the other. They both have to be working. And you want to look at who does that really well. McDonald's runs a franchise like that very, very well. If you're a McDonald's franchise owner, yeah, there are certain rules you're going to play by, but boy, do they want feedback from you.
Oh Lord, do they? And then they send you the Hamburger U.
Hamburger U. They invest in the professional development of the franchise owners, right? Or franchise reps, and
absolutely,
that's no different than you would do in any large organization.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, Mike, you say you're back in sales now. You're back in the car business.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Are you thinking of going back into your own business, or you're just at the point where you're just gonna be in that industry for a while?
I'm working, instead of working for privately family-owned dealership, I'm working for a corporation that has 150 plus dealerships, and there's opportunities to move up in the company and relocate to nice places like Hawaii, or so I might stay around. There's really good benefits. With this company, the pay is quite good. The only thing is, the only downfall is the hours. You're working the hours everybody else isn't. So if you want to make the money, you got to work the weekends and work the evening times and things that when people are off work themselves. So that's the only downfall to that. But these are about the nicest people I've worked in. I've been in 3 different dealerships over my actually 4. These are the nicest so far, the nicest guys I've worked around. Other dealerships, like the other salespeople, like your mortal enemies. They look at you as you're taking food off their plate, and a lot less. Advantage can make it a lot more a less happy environment to work in. This has been pretty good so far. I've been pretty happy at this place.
Cool.
There's people that have been there for a long time. There's people that are first time in sales, have been there for a while. There's people that have been in multiple dealerships and seen what I've seen. Like that it ain't so good elsewhere. It's a nice change for being in the car sales business.
Awesome.
And then I sell, and I just sell a brand. I think that stands, without having to, you don't have to sell a Toyota. A Toyota's already sold when the customer's on the lot. You just gotta, tell them why the Camry's a better choice than the Honda Accord. That's probably what they're looking at. Honda.
Well, I feel sorry for Volkswagen salesmen right now. I mean, what is it? 10 million recalls, so that would be Farfanugan times 10 to the power of 6.
Now that's hilarious. Well, I want to welcome Jennifer back. Jennifer came back to join us again. Jennifer, I know we were talking about the perfecting your pitch. What is it that you do? I would love to have you come up and tell us a little bit about what you do. We talked about a couple of aspects of perfecting your $1 million pitch. We talked about one, your business introduction, how you introduce what you do, and 2, having a price book together. Pretty important.
Remember when I was saying that if you could do your introduction with 2 or 3 words that makes somebody ask the question, "Oh, what is that? That sounds interesting."
Absolutely.
She's already got it on her thing there, video healer. So if someone told me,
yes, please,
I'm a video healer, I would go, wait a minute, okay, want to know more about that? What is that? Perfect.
Absolutely. All right.
Says she's looking trashy. I went to Blair Glazer's the other day when I was just got off an hour
I'm
in the
not
gym and I
looking-
looked like crap.
Wait, I'm not looking trashy. I hope I'm not looking trashy. I'm looking thrashed. That's a little different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just got done
Thrash.
playing tennis, so I just was sweating a lot.
Thrashed.
So anyway,
Thrashed.
yeah.
Okay,
Not
cool.
hopefully not looking too thrashy. Yeah, I don't really know. I just hopped on for a minute earlier, and then I mean, I'm actually kind of nervous to be on stuff like this because I don't know, it feels intimidating. So what?
No intimidation. What we were basically just talking about was perfecting. The topic was perfecting your pitch. We talked a bit about business introduction, your elevator pitch. That's what most people call it. I prefer to call it a business introduction because it's really not meant for the elevator, and most of the time, it's not a full pitch, and it's pretty badly done too. So
first introduction, really more often than not, it's really an introduction to your character as opposed to
exactly.
what you do. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So just wanted to know what you do.
Oh, right on. Well, you know what, I like that you said the video killer thing. That's actually an aspect of what I do in my program that I put together with the I Love My Body diet. So I actually it's really about body image and body connection, like connecting spirit and body stuff. So I work with a lot of women. But it's funny, I just came up with Video Healer because that's really what I started doing about a year ago in the Facebook private groups with the women. We started literally healing through video. Like we would do a video in our programs, and it was like shifting women like crazy. So Periscope and all this stuff, I'm just new to this. So it's like it's different though. Periscope and Blaz have been a little bit different for me. I'm noticing things are showing up for me. So I say I'm a video healer because that's what I've been experiencing and helping other women experience through the programs I've been doing.
Of the things that you just said is a perfect business pitch.
Really? Because I honestly am always so unsure.
Clear,
I really am.
Concise, it's relevant. So when you went into the explaining thing of why you went into it, that's probably the follow-on conversation. That first 30 seconds where says, oh yeah, I'm a video healer, and you said, well, what does that mean? And then I went, fitness, body, imaging, all that sort of stuff. Bam, 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 bam. Period.
Gotcha.
So either they're interested in that line of business or they're not.
Absolutely.
Hey,
right?
Fred.
Because sometimes you're going to give something to somebody, but frankly, they go, yeah, that's interesting, but you know what? I'm not interested in buying any of those kind of products. So you hit
and
the
saves
clear,
you
concise, relevant. Those are the big three: clear, concise, relevant. You hit them in the first 30 seconds.
Absolutely.
Hey, Fred.
So can I ask you a question? So would it be important to have like a few of those different pitches though?
No.
You might have already talked about this,
That-
but you
that's
just want
exactly
one
it.
that you're just constantly.
Yes, you should have
Yeah.
one because that's what allows you the confidence. That's what allows you the comfortability, and that's what finds your client. The 3 C's.
Right.
Because you're defining it for them so that it's no confusion. Because if you give them too much, or if you have 2 or 3, you might. All right, well, maybe I'm gonna try this one, or I'm gonna try that one. When you know what you do, concise, precise, it defines it for people. And guess what? It's okay. Everybody's not meant to be your
And you're
client.
doing it on a medium where people may not be sure at first. It's not like when somebody walks into Mike's place, they're going there to either buy a car or look at a car. But in many cases, they've already made up their mind, as Mike has already aptly pointed out. They've already made up their mind about what the short list is on their cars, and now they're they're going through the short end of the decision cycle. Where someone like yourself is probably moving in a much more maneuverable market area, right?
So I got something to add to this.
Yeah.
We use this all the time, and you can relate this to any type of sales. But car sales, it's feature, function, and benefit. So if you go, what are you featuring? What is its function, and how does that benefit that person? So if you keep those 3 in mind, then you could get somebody biting in on what you're trying to pitch to them, what you're trying to sell.
Right. But in your case, you are the conduit to the product. In her case, she is the product.
Right.
And
I don't want to be though.
Well, guess what? Whether you like it or not, you are.
I'm actually working on that right now. So and this is the thing. So this is the deal too. Let me just ask you a quick question. So because I am working on really targeting really what I want my like if I want to have one, I don't even know if I want it to be Video Healer. If that's really the case. That's a whole nother thing. But you know, do you think that once you do something, can you just kind of play around with stuff, or do you really need to, you know what I mean? Just
Sure.
like come out with all.
I have variations of my pitch depending on who I'm talking to. So
Right.
I do wargaming and red teaming. So if I'm speaking to an mergers and acquisition crowd, I have, you know, some subtleties on my introduction. If I know I'm talking to venture capitalists, I'm talking to somebody else. I'm talking to somebody manufacturing. There's a slight variation on that.
Okay.
But I would, you know, I have 2 or 3 things, which are what are those things that are in common to all of those guys?
Yeah.
So for all those
sense.
guys, it's all about rehearsed execution. It's all about execution, and it's about reducing, you know, the intangibles in execution. So that would be my common theme. I'm in and I'm out, and either they have a need for that product, or they immediately recognize it, or they don't. But in many cases, I say start off with something which makes them ask the next question. So when people say meet me for the first time, oh, so what do you do? Oh, you know, I'm retired from the military and I'm now in private sector consultant. Oh, cool. What do you consult on? Business, wargaming, and red teaming. They go, oh yeah, I know what that is, or I don't know what it is, but it sounds fascinating. Tell me more. So when you have something like Video Healer, especially if no one else is using a hashtag called Video Healer, then stick with it. Right?
Yeah.
Because once you've got something locked in, it's almost like having a brand. As long as nobody else is out there doing it and muddying your brand, you're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, the term has to be one that you are comfortable with. The only thing I would say, once I hear Video Healer, I said, oh, it sounds like I'm getting an AV expert to sort out my blab channel. Okay, but play with it. But as soon as you said Video Healer, I went, okay, I want to read more.
Yeah. See, and that is what we like to call your unique selling position. You want to create something that makes you stand out from the crowd versus being part of the crowd. Because if you just say,
you don't want to be part of the thundering herd.
Because if you are, hey, I do fitness consulting, blah, 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 everybody's like, okay, what makes you different? You know, but like he said, you know, hey, I'm a video healer. What is that? They hadn't heard of a video healer. And then you say, well, I do video healing through blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, oh, okay. And I started this because, you know, we saw blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, wow. Now they can say, is this someone that I need to work with? Or they can say, maybe not. And they will also be able to take into account, since they know that you are uniquely doing something, they may send you referrals. Right. I've had plenty of people that just are like, wow, you know, I don't have a need just yet for that because I don't have my business yet. But my sister wants to start a business, so she's really been trying and this and that. I'm gonna tell her to call you. Right. So what you do is you are defining your client and you're helping them define themselves within your service.
That makes sense.
You don't want to overwhelm them, because then it's scary. A confused mind, they're just like, okay, I don't know what she does.
I definitely think that's one thing I've been doing a lot of, is confusing people.
Yeah. And it's a natural.
I'm confusing myself. If I'm confused, I'm screwed, and they're screwed. So
I think Mike had something.
I don't know. I'm kind of confused. I don't know what a fitness consultant is, and I've been in gyms for 30 years now. What is a consultant? Are you a trainer, or you just tell them what's
me? I'm not a fitness consultant. I don't think I said that, but is that?
No, I was just giving an example.
Yeah. No, I actually, I activate love. So what I do is I do experiential programs online and live events with women to actually activate love. We do very specific experiences around doing that. So love for your body, love for yourself, love for your family, love for others.
Okay. I'm going to go off the record here because we're supposed to wrap up in a little bit ago, but we're going to continue this conversation. I thank everybody for tuning in to Great O'Clock. We are here every Monday and Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We hope that you all come back and join us. And if you want to be part of the after party, that only happens on blab.im. I want to thank Mike, Jennifer, and Fred for all being here, and Dorisha, and we had so many people come through. I appreciate everybody, and we will see you Monday again at great o'clock.